Hi friends, it's Andrew Goodall here again from Nature's Image Photography, and today I'm taking another look at one of my favourite features of the Panasonic Lumix G9, the super high-speed pre-burst mode. When I first got this camera, I did a video about this mode using this photo as my example. Well, since then I've had lots of fun testing it out even further, and now I want to share some more tips and lots of new photos. Before we start, if this is your first visit to my channel, I would love it if you click that subscribe button so you can keep in touch with all my upcoming content on the G9 and all things photography. First up, a quick recap. What is the SH Pre mode all about? Well, it uses the electronic shutter and it's capable of very fast burst rates. You have two options. SH1 shoots up to 20 frames per second. SH2 is even faster, it shoots up to 60 frames per second in autofocus single, but it does slow back down to 20 if you use autofocus continuous. At such high speeds you might think we're talking about little snips of video footage, but no, each shot taken in one of these modes can be full-size RAW or JPEG files, just the same as if they were shot one frame at a time. Speed isn't the only thing that makes this feature special. In SH Pre mode, the camera starts taking photos the moment your focus locks on. It doesn't record anything until you start shooting, but when you do, the camera records all the photos you take, including 0.4 of a second worth of shots from before you press the button. That means if you're taking a photograph that requires split-second timing, it might not matter if you miss the moment by a fraction of a second. Chances are the camera caught it anyway. And it's very easy to set up. You can assign an SH shooting option to one of the spots on your release mode dial. The first place on the dial is for single shot shooting, but the second and third spots are for burst shooting. I assigned Super High Speed 1 to position 3 on the dial, and here's how I did it. Go into the first part of the menu and scroll down until you find your burst shot setting options. Now you can choose which option you want to assign to which position on the dial. You can see I have regular burst mode assigned to setting 1. When I click on setting 2, I can choose between a number of options, and I chose SH1. I don't use SH2 because at 60 frames per second, I could see myself deleting thousands of unwanted images. 20 frames per second is fast enough for me. There has actually been one occasion when I chose SH2 at 60 frames per second, and if you watch right to the end of the video, you'll see what I used it for. Now that part I only have to do one time. Once I've assigned an option, all I need to do to switch into high-speed pre-burst mode is select the third position on the release mode dial, and I'm ready to go. Here's my first example of the SH1 mode in action, and while you watch it I want to give you a few important tips. First of all, you're going to take a lot of photos, and I mean a lot. If your photo shoot involves a lot of action, it would be easy to fire off hundreds of images in a very short time. So I suggest keeping spare memory cards handy because you're probably going to need them. Second, never forget that the instant you focus, the camera is already taking photos even before you press the button, and that all uses up battery power. So a fully charged battery is a must, and it's a good idea to have a spare battery ready to go. Finally, I'm not even going to pretend that every one of these photos is sharp. It's the nature of continuous autofocus that some shots will be sharper than others. But with the speed of the G9 autofocus system, combined with the sheer number of photos you're taking, you're almost guaranteed a few keepers from each sequence. So for each series I'm about to show you, I'm including the bad along with the good, so you can get a realistic idea of my success rate. There is one final thing I want to show you before we see the rest of the shots, and that's how to play back your photos in the camera. This actually took me a little while to figure out, because each burst sequence is stored as a folder, and initially all you see is the first photo in the set. To view them all, you have a couple of options. If you push up on the joystick, you get to view the pictures like a little stop-motion video. You can do the same thing by pressing the up arrow on the rear control dial. You can also go through the photos one by one, by first pushing down on the joystick or on the control dial, and then clicking right to go through all the photos in the folder. So I've had a lot of fun with this great feature, and now I want to show you a few more examples. Most of these were shot in the SH1 mode, but don't forget to watch right to the end to see how I used the SH2 mode at 60 frames per second. I'm Andrew Goodall, this is Nature's Image Photography, thanks for watching.